The final chapter of Attack on Titan, Chapter 139, was first published in the April 9th, 2021 issue of Bessatsu Shonen magazine. The series had continued for 11 years and 7 months since September 9th, 2009, and finally came to an end. In the last chapter, a lot of questions were answered. Many readers have praised the way the series ended. However, there are some parts of the story that haven't been talked about by readers very much. Some people even said they didn't understand why certain things happened in the last chapter. So, in this video, we'll focus on how moments in the last chapter were foreshadowed earlier on in Attack on Titan. Feel free to reread the last chapter while watching the video. Please be aware that this video obviously contains spoilers for the final chapter of Attack on Titan's manga. The beginning of the last chapter. In the last chapter, the main character Eren and his childhood friend Armin are in the coordinate. This coordinate is like a separate astral plane that only subjects of Ymir can enter. Eren's true feelings were revealed, and many things that were hinted at were confirmed. We'll go into the details of these later, but first, this conversation between Eren and Armin didn't really happen after the events in Chapter 138. It really happened during a scene that felt out of place in Volume 33, Chapter 131. This was before Armin's final confrontation with Eren. The memory of them meeting at the coordinate was sealed by Eren after the conversation ended, so Armin couldn't remember it. After Eren's defeat in Chapter 139, Armin said, "I remember now," as he was regaining consciousness. That was when the memory of his conversation with Eren returned. Mikasa came running up to Armin and said, "Your memories came back too, didn't they?" It seemed that not only Armin, but also Mikasa and the other members of Eren's class, like John, Reiner, Connie, and Annie, all got their memories back. Eren had met with all of them earlier through the coordinate. Chapter 139 doesn't show any of these other conversations, just the one with Armin. Maybe the conversation between Mikasa and Eren that was shown in the previous chapter, 138, that parallel world where Mikasa and Eren lived peacefully together, was the memory of Mikasa from when she met Eren through the coordinate. The truth behind Carla's death. It's no exaggeration to say that the most significant thing explained to us in the last chapter was the truth behind Carla, Eren's mother's death. In Volume 1, Chapter 2, that day, Eren's mother Carla was eaten by the Titan of Dynafritz. As a result, Eren swore to kill every last Titan. However, in the conversation between Eren and Armin in Chapter 139, Eren says that he actually controlled Dyna's Titan from the future with the power of the founding Titan and led it to eat his mother Carla. There was a scene in Chapter 96, The Door of Hope, that happened at the same time as Carla's death. In that scene, Dyna's Titan ignored Bertolt, the heir to the Colossal Titan, walking right past him. Instead, she walked into the hole in the wall to eat Carla. When it was first released, most readers didn't realize the significance of this scene. When the fragments of Eren's memory were shown in Chapter 130, a small image of Bertolt from Chapter 96 was also there. This was a hint that this memory was very important to Eren. But even here, it was shown so casually, no one thought about why it was there. Only in Chapter 139 do we realize it was a hint that Eren had gotten his own mother eaten on purpose. But why? Why make Dyna's Titan pass Bertolt and eat his mom? It was because letting Armin inherit the Colossal Titan was necessary to achieve the world where every last Titan is killed, which is accomplished in the last chapter. If Dyna had eaten Bertolt instead of Carla, Armin wouldn't have inherited the Colossal Titan's power, and Eren wouldn't have gotten the determination needed to kill every last Titan, so he wouldn't have reached the final chapter. In other words, we find out in the final chapter that the whole story was set up by Eren himself from the future. By the way, in Chapter 96, Bertolt says, "It's not like all Titans will act how we expect them to. Didn't you learn that?" This could mean that Titans that don't act the way they're expected to were being influenced by the power of the founding Titan. Foreshadowing for the ending of the final chapter. In the last chapter, it was Armin who saved the world, not the main character, Eren, or Mikasa. This ending was actually something we were told would happen earlier in the series. In Chapter 84, Eren says it's not him or the commander who will save humanity, but Armin. Then in the final chapter, Armin comes forward and says he was the one who killed Eren. officially becoming the hero who saved the world. Eren's words back in chapter 84 came true. Also, the story Isayama-sensei selected to be published at the same time as chapter 139 in Bessatsu Shonen magazine was chapter 69, Friends. This was probably a reference to the fact that Eren's friend, Armin, saved the world. By the way, the scene I mentioned earlier where Bertolt was saved from being eaten by Dinah was in chapter 96. Chapter 69 is those numbers flipped around, which might have been done on purpose. The final panel of the last chapter, when the author, Isayama-sensei, appeared on the show Jounetsu Tairiku on November 18th, 2018. He told us the name of the final panel in the last chapter. It had a man with long hair holding a baby in his arms and mumbling, "You are free." There was debate over who these two people were for years. It turns out that panel wasn't used as the final panel, but it was drawn in the last chapter. It was a flashback from Eren's father, Grisha, holding a baby Eren in his arms. It's not clear what he meant by the line, "You are free." Maybe Eren was brainwashed by Grisha to seek freedom ever since he was born. Eren's brother Zeke did say, "You've been brainwashed by your father." But in reality, throughout the story, it becomes clear that Eren was the one actually manipulating his father. But if we take into account this "You are free" panel, then yeah, it could mean Eren really was brainwashed by his father so early in life that he didn't remember. The reasons behind smaller details in the conversation between Eren and Armin. There were also some minor elements in the depiction of Eren's conversation with Armin that were hinted at beforehand. In chapter 4 of volume 1, when Eren was still a child, Armin told him that there was water made of fire, lands of ice, and fields of sand in the outside world. In the last chapter, Eren and Armin visit all of these places, starting with the lava. Also, in chapter 90, when Eren and Armin visited the sea for the first time, Armin found a seashell he wanted to show Eren, but Eren never looked at it. In the final chapter, Armin handed him that same seashell he wanted to show him before. In chapter 90, Eren was disappointed that he hadn't gained his freedom yet. So, taking the seashell in chapter 139 was a way of showing that Eren was finally free. We also learned that the person that Ymir, the founder of the Titans, was waiting for 2,000 years was Mikasa, not Eren. Most people noticed this since the title of the first chapter was "To You in 2,000 Years." Mikasa's choice to defeat Eren freed Ymir from her suffering, and the power of the Titans disappeared from the whole world. So, in a way, Mikasa was the real main character of the story. Clues hidden in chapter 1. After Armin's conversation with Eren at the coordinate, Titan powers disappear, and the story skips to the world of 3 years after that. There are many highlights in between, such as the only time Captain Levi is ever shown shedding tears. Be sure to check those out in the final chapter. As for the hints given in the first chapter of volume 1, the cross shape carved into the tree Eren was sleeping under as a child was eventually used as the symbol marking his grave. It's amazing that the ending was foreshadowed by a small detail like this so early on. The title of the final chapter was "Moving Towards the Tree on That Hill." This was probably because Mikasa and the other members of her class were heading for the grave at the foot of the tree on the hill to meet Eren, the bird in the last scene. In Attack on Titan, birds appear in several important scenes. These birds may have been a reference to the Wings of Freedom, the emblem of the Scouts. A bird also appeared in the last scene of the last chapter, when Mikasa said, "Eren, everyone will be coming to see you soon. Aren't you happy? I want to see you again." As she was murmuring these things, a bird grabs her scarf with its beak, wraps it back around her neck, and flies away. Mikasa looked at the bird and said, "Thank you for wrapping this scarf around me, Eren." So the bird here was definitely representing Eren. People think that this bird was a skua, and the North American English name for this bird is Jaeger. Jaeger is the last name of the main character, Eren Jaeger. Isayama-sensei's love of wordplay could be seen even in these small details. The story ends with Mikasa saying "thank you" in the last chapter. This is likely also a thank you from Isayama-sensei to the readers. On top of that, the end of chapter 69, which was republished with chapter 139, also ends with Captain Levi saying "thank you guys." This line was put there long ago, probably to be used to express the gratitude of Isayama-sensei to the readers after the end of of the story. The level of detail this man puts in his work is almost frightening. That's all we have for now regarding the last chapter of Attack on Titan. While we covered many hints that were given in great detail, the story was told in a way that leaves many things open to interpretation. Please feel free to comment with your own thoughts on these, or ask any other questions you may have. I hope to see you again in the next video.